Welcome back, my friend. Tonight, London enters a quieter and more troubled chapter. The city still moves beneath church bells and ancient traditions, but Henry VIII's desire for change begins to divide faith, crown, and conscience. Let us follow the first cracks that will reshape London forever. Settle in, breathe slowly, and let history carry you toward sleep. Subscribe to Deep Sleep Storytelling for more peaceful journeys through history, science, and mysteries of the sea.
Before the storm, London's sacred rhythm. Let your breath fall into a slow, peaceful rhythm. Tonight we enter a London that is not yet torn by the struggles to come. A London still shaped by the great arc of medieval Christianity. A London where the bells of countless churches weave sound through every hour of the day. A London that prays, celebrates, and dreams through the steady rituals of an ancient faith. This is the city before the English Reformation, before the king's break with Rome, before monasteries fall silent, before new ideas flood through open doors. In this moment, London's heart still beats with the soft pulse of sacred tradition. Let us walk gently into it. A city of churches. London in the early 1500s is crowded with churches, large ones, small ones, ancient stone structures weathered by centuries of wind, timber chapels tucked between houses, shrines lit by candles glowing like stars along dim streets. Wherever you stand, you are never far from sacred sound. The bells call people to morning prayer before sunrise. They ring again at midday when the markets pause. They toll once more at dusk, long after apprentices have swept the shop floors clean. Londoners do not need clocks. They live by bells, by chants, by prayers, by the rhythm of the church calendar that turns the year like a great wheel. Daily life, shaped by faith. Walk with me through a quiet morning. The sky is pale, the air cool. People move through narrow lanes on their way to Mass. Candles flicker inside open church doors. Stone floors echo softly beneath footsteps. Children tug at their mothers' sleeves. Old men whisper prayers with the familiarity of breathing. Priests dressed in robes of gold or deep red chant the Latin words that Londoners do not fully understand but feel deeply. The incense drifts in slow coils. Sunlight filters through stained glass and colors the inside of the church with gentle blues, greens, and ruby tones. Faith is not something Londoners attend once a week. It surrounds them. It shapes the rhythm of every day. From the moment they wake to the moment they sleep. Monasteries and their quiet power. The great monasteries of London stand like islands of calm in the bustling city. Westminster Abbey, with its towering walls, the Charterhouse, with its silent courtyards, St. Bartholomew's Priory with its deep sense of age, Blackfriars and Greyfriars, each with monks dressed in their distinct colors. Within these communities, monks and friars pray, teach, copy manuscripts, run hospitals, and distribute alms. Londoners respect them, and some revere them. Many depend on them. When a child is sick, families go to the monastery for help. When a poor man needs bread, he knocks on the priory door. When travelers seek shelter, monks offer simple beds and warm meals. These religious houses feel like pillars holding the city together. London cannot imagine life without them. Feast days and holy celebrations. Faith is not only solemn, it is joyful. Throughout the year, feast days fill the city with color, music, and celebration. At Christmas, evergreen branches hang above doors and windows. At Easter, churches overflow with flowers. On Saints' days, processions wind through the streets with banners, candles, and songs. Guilds take pride in sponsoring festivals. Children gather candies tossed from parade floats. Musicians fill the air with lively tunes. Women wear their finest clothing. Men cheer and laugh with enthusiasm. Even the river becomes part of the celebration, carrying decorated boats that glide like floating altars. On these days, faith and joy are one and the same. Pilgrims and wanderers. London is a crossroads of pilgrimage. Travelers come from across England to visit the shrines of St. Thomas, St. Erkenwald, and countless lesser-known saints whose stories are whispered in tavern corners. Pilgrims sleep in inns. They buy small badges as souvenirs. They light candles in chapels. They walk barefoot across the stone floors to fulfill vows or seek healing. Their presence brings news from distant towns and villages, stories of miracles, stories of hardship, stories of faith that shape the city's imagination. London embraces them warmly, for pilgrims enrich both the spirit and the economy. Theology in taverns. Londoners are not scholars, but they love conversation. And in inns and taverns, after ale loosens tongues, debates often turn to religion. Someone praises a local priest. Someone complains about church taxes. Someone tells a story about a miracle they heard from a cousin who heard it from a neighbor who definitely saw it happen. People argue about saints, relics, and sermons with the same enthusiasm they reserve for trade and politics. These conversations are lively, sometimes humorous, sometimes heated. But they show how deeply woven faith is into the fabric of London life. Religion is not remote, it is personal. The beauty of sacred music. Perhaps nothing defines this era more than the music. London's churches echo with polyphonic chants that soar like birds across stone arches. Choirs rehearse for hours to perfect harmonies. Composers experiment with new structures that feel almost like early Renaissance magic. When voices rise during Sunday Mass, Londoners close their eyes and feel lifted into something beyond understanding. The music wraps around them like warm cloth. It comforts. It inspires. It reminds them that life is part of a larger story. In a world without modern entertainment, sacred music is one of the greatest wonders the city knows. a city on the edge of change. And yet, even in this peaceful era, small signs of change appear. Printed books arrive more frequently. Ideas from Europe spread quietly through scholars and merchants. Some Londoners begin learning to read. Some whisper curious questions about faith, authority, and scripture. But these whispers are faint. London still belongs to the old rhythm, the ancient faith, the rituals that have guided generations. The storm is coming, carried by Henry VIII himself. But for now, the city stands in gentle calm, unaware of how soon everything will shift. Ending the chapter. Let the sound of church bells drift softly through your imagination. Let the scent of incense fade into the darkness. Let the warm glow of candles follow you into rest. London sleeps peacefully in its sacred rhythm, holding tightly to traditions that have shaped it for centuries. But change is already walking slowly toward the city gates. The first cracks in the faith. Rest your shoulders, my friend. Let the air around you soften. Tonight we enter one of the most delicate and mysterious moments in London's long story. A moment when the city does not hear explosions or see flames, but instead feels something subtle. A shift, a murmur, a tiny crack forming in a wall that once seemed unbreakable. This is the beginning of Henry VIII's great change. The moment when faith, politics, marriage, and ambition begin to twist together in ways that will reshape the entire kingdom. London does not know it yet, but the ground beneath its feet has begun to move. Let us walk gently into this turning point. Trouble behind palace walls. In the late 1520s, London is prosperous and joyful. The city has dressed itself in color, music, trade, and laughter. Feasts fill the taverns. Boats crowd the Thames. Merchants count coins with hopeful eyes. But inside the palace, Henry VIII's happiness is fading. He has been married to Catherine of Aragon for nearly 20 years. They share respect. They share history. But they do not share a surviving son. Henry begins to fear that his dynasty, so carefully built by his father, may crumble after him. He fears God may be displeased with the marriage. He fears the throne may fall into chaos if he dies without a male heir. And fear in the heart of a king is like a spark in dry grass, small at first, then growing, then unstoppable. The whisper that spreads through the city. One morning, Londoners hear rumors. Nothing certain, nothing official, only whispers drifting through markets and guild halls. The king wants an annulment. The king is consulting scholars. The king is troubled. The king seeks answers. People glance at one another with uneasy curiosity. An annulment from Queen Catherine, the queen everyone loves. themselves. The queen who has lived among them for decades. The queen who speaks their language. The queen who prays with them. London does not know how to feel. Some insist the rumors are lies. Some think the king has the right to choose his successor. Some feel a knot of worry forming quietly in their chests. But the whispers spread through the river docks, through Cheapside, through taverns thick with smoke, through guild halls where men speak more cautiously than usual. The city begins to sense that something profound is happening. Catherine of Aragon and the people's love. Queen Catherine is widely admired. She is dignified, she is intelligent, she is kind to the poor. She gives alms generously. She walks among the people without fear. Londoners speak warmly of her. They remember when she prayed for the city during outbreaks of plague. They remember her strength when Henry fought wars in France. They remember her loyalty when court politics grew tangled. To many, Catherine is not merely the king's wife. She is the mother of the kingdom, the queen whose presence makes the court feel stable and trustworthy. When the first rumors of annulment grow louder, London feels shaken. People whisper in church porches after Mass. Women discuss the matter in bakeries while waiting for loaves to cool. Merchants pause in the middle of counting coins. What will happen to her? What will happen to the Princess Mary? What will happen to the kingdom? Questions hover like fog over the Thames. Scholars, priests, and the great debate. Henry VIII, determined to have a male heir, begins to consult scholars across Europe. Letters travel back and forth. Arguments are written, debated, copied, and carried by couriers who race between universities and palaces. London hears pieces of these discussions. Some priests claim the marriage to Catherine was never valid because she was previously married to Henry's brother. Others argue that the Pope's original permission made it lawful. Some merchants say the matter is political. Some insist it is spiritual. A few shake their heads and say that kings should not meddle so deeply in sacred vows. No one truly knows the full truth, but everyone senses the stakes. For if the king challenges the church, the entire world may shift. Anne Boleyn and the city's uncertainty. And then, like a new character stepping onto a stage, Anne Boleyn appears. Young, quick-witted, beautiful, raised partly in France, educated in European courts, unwilling to be simply another courtly romance. London hears her name more often with each passing month. Some whisper admiration, some whisper suspicion, some whisper fear. A new woman at the center of the king's attention means a new direction for the kingdom. And London, sensitive to any change, feels unsettled. The city does not hate Anne. It simply does not understand her yet, and people fear what they do not understand. The first signs of division. As debates intensify, small divisions grow within the city. Priests argue quietly in sacristies. Merchants analyze foreign reactions. Guild leaders worry about trade with Catholic countries. Scholars take sides, quoting scripture or canon law. Tavern debates become sharper and longer. Nobody wants conflict. Nobody wants reform or rebellion. They only want stability. But the first cracks have appeared. London can feel them beneath the surface, even if the ground still seems solid. The church feels the pressure. Monasteries begin to worry. Church officials glance nervously at royal envoys. Cathedral priests preach sermons urging unity. The archbishop attempts to balance loyalty to the king with loyalty to Rome. Nobody wants confrontation, but everyone senses it is drawing closer, like a distant storm cloud edging across a calm sky. The bells keep ringing. The prayers continue. The rituals remain unchanged. But behind closed doors, fear grows. London at a crossroads. By the early 1530s, the city stands between two worlds, the old world of medieval Christendom and the new world of royal ambition and reform. Most Londoners simply continue with daily life. They bake bread, they mend shoes, they trade wool, they build ships, they pray, they gossip. But in their hearts, they feel something gathering strength, a choice approaching, a tide rising, a century bending toward transformation. The peaceful religious rhythm described in the previous chapter is beginning to tremble. Ending the chapter, let your breath settle, gentle as evening rain. Imagine London at twilight, the bells echoing across rooftops. The city still looks calm, still sounds peaceful, still prays in Latin, still keeps its sacred traditions. But the sky above it holds a storm that is not yet broken. Henry VIII wants change, and soon London will feel its first true shockwave. The break with Rome. A city splits in silence. Breathe slowly, my friend. Allow the stillness of the night to settle around you. Tonight we cross one of the sharpest turning points in all of English history. A moment when everything London thought was unshakable begins to shift. Not with swords, not with burning cities, but with signatures, proclamations, and words spoken in Parliament halls. For centuries, London lived under one spiritual sky, one church, one faith, one rhythm of belief. Now, with a few strokes of quill on parchment, that sky begins to tear. Let us walk softly into this great break. The king grows impatient. By the early 1530s, Henry VIII is no longer the dazzling young king who loved festivals and music above all else. He is older, heavier, more determined, more troubled. For years, he has waited for Rome to approve the annulment of his marriage to Catherine of Aragon. He has sent letters. He has sent envoys. He has debated with scholars. He has argued with clerics, and Rome has hesitated. Catherine is the aunt of the most powerful ruler in Europe. Granting Henry's request would anger half the continent. Months pass, months turn into years. Henry grows restless, and when a king grows restless, the world must shift. Anne Boleyn at the center of the storm. Anne Boleyn is no longer simply a lady of the court. She is the woman Henry intends to marry. Londoners whisper about her beauty, her sharp mind, her confidence that seems almost French in flavor. Some admire her, some resent her, some fear her influence. But all agree on one thing: she has changed the king. And because she has changed the king, she will change the kingdom. Her presence is a stone dropped into the center of a still pond. The ripples reach every corner of London. A decision that cannot be ignored. Henry grows tired of waiting for Rome. He grows tired of foreign interference. He grows tired of obstacles. He begins to ask a radical question: what if the laws of England, not Rome, decide his marriage? It is a dangerous thought, a rebellious thought, a thought that centuries of kings before him never dared voice. But Henry is no ordinary king. He pushes the question further. If the Pope cannot grant justice, then who should hold authority over the English Church? The answer he arrives at will shake the world. London hears the news. When Henry secretly marries Anne Boleyn in 1533, London erupts in murmurs. Not riots, not cheers, just murmurs. A new queen, a new marriage, a new direction. Then, when Parliament passes the Act of Supremacy in 1534, the murmurs turn into stunned silence. Suddenly, the king is declared supreme head of the Church of England. Rome's authority ends within the kingdom. Priests must swear loyalty to the king. Church law bends to royal will. The old spiritual unity is broken. Londoners walk through the streets feeling as if the ground has shifted just a little beneath their feet. Not enough to fall, just enough to feel dizzy. Ordinary people, extraordinary uncertainty. Most Londoners do not fully understand the legal details. They do not know the theological arguments. They do not read Latin scholars or secret diplomatic letters, but they feel the emotional weight. In taverns, people whisper nervously. What does this mean for our souls, for the Mass, for the sacraments, for the saints whose images fill every church? Some shrug and say, the king must have his reasons. Some say God will guide the country no matter what. Some look at their children with quiet fear. Change this large rarely comes without echoes. Priests caught between two authorities. Inside churches, priests feel the tension most sharply. Some comply quickly, signing the oath of loyalty to the king. Others hesitate, their hands trembling over the parchment. A few refuse, knowing refusal may bring imprisonment. The air inside sacristies feels heavy. Candles burn lower, as if unsure of their own light. Clerics exchange glances filled with worry, uncertainty, and a strange sense of being suspended between two worlds. London's churches still ring their bells. They still chant their prayers. They still hold Mass. But nothing feels the same. The people love Catherine and worry for her. London has not forgotten Catherine of Aragon. She is still beloved, still respected, still trusted. Even those who accept the king's new marriage speak her name with softness and sorrow. Her departure from court feels like a wound carved into the city's heart. People talk about her in bakeries and markets and crowded wharves. They pray for her quietly in the shadows of churches, and they wonder how a kingdom can treat a queen so loyal with such coldness. Their sympathy becomes a quiet current flowing beneath the surface of daily life. Fear in the monasteries. Monks and friars feel the danger first. If the king now rules the church, what will become of their vows, their lands, their missions, their centuries-old traditions? They pray harder. They whisper late into the night in candle-lit dormitories. Some cling to hope. Some feel dread. The great monasteries of London still stand tall and silent. But in their long, echoing corridors, anxiety walks beside the monks like a shadow. The dissolution has not yet begun, but the chill of it already touches the walls. A city holding its breath. By 1534, London stands in a strange twilight. Nothing has exploded, no armies march. The streets do not burn, but everything is different. The church is changing. The court is changing, and the king is changing. The very nature of belief is changing. People go about their work. Markets hum, boats move along the Thames, taverns glow late into the night. But the mood beneath it all is unmistakable. London is holding its breath. Ending the chapter. Let the weight of this historical moment rest lightly in your thoughts. Imagine a city walking through fog, knowing the world around it has shifted, but unable to see what lies ahead. The break with Rome is only the beginning. Soon the quiet tremors will become louder. Soon the monasteries will face their greatest trial. Soon the king's reforms will reshape the very soul of the city. But for tonight, let your breath slow. Let London sleep in its uneasy calm. The silence of the monasteries. Let your breath fall into a calm and steady rhythm, my friend. Tonight we walk into one of the most unsettling transformations London ever witnessed. Not a fire, not a plague, not an invasion, but a quiet unraveling of something ancient, something woven into the city's soul for centuries. This is the dissolution of the monasteries, a moment when the bells that once guided daily life fall silent, when cloisters that echoed with prayer become empty stone halls, when London wakes one morning and realizes that a part of itself has disappeared. But we will move gently through this. No rush, no sharpness, only the quiet turning of history. the first rumblings of change. In the mid-1530s, London still looks like the London of old. Church spires rise proudly above the rooftops. Monks walk through the streets. In their colored robes, pilgrims visit shrines lit by candlelight. Hospitals, run by mendicant orders, treat the sick. Schools taught by friars teach boys to read Latin. On the surface, everything appears steady. But beneath the calm surface, a new tide is forming. The king wants control. The crown needs money, the reformers want change, and the monasteries, with their lands, wealth, and independence, stand in the center of a growing storm. London senses the tension but does not yet understand what it means. Cromwell's investigation. Thomas Cromwell, the king's chief minister, is given an enormous task. He sends royal commissioners to inspect every religious house in the kingdom. They arrive with documents, questions, and an expression that makes monks shift uncomfortably. London watches nervously. At St. Bartholomew's Priory, brothers gather in the chapter house to speak with the king's men. At the charter house, silent monks lift their heads in concern. At Blackfriars, the sound of quills scratching on parchment fills the air as commissioners write their reports. Some Londoners believe reform is necessary. Others whisper that the king has gone too far. Most simply feel uncertain, like travelers walking across a bridge that shakes beneath their feet. The first monasteries fall. When the smaller monasteries are closed in 1536, London hears the news with a mix of confusion and disbelief. Brothers are told to leave. Buildings are locked. Altars are stripped. Candles are extinguished. It happens quietly, not with riots or torches, but with paperwork and royal orders delivered by calm, efficient men. Londoners gather around taverns and markets, asking one another the same question. What does this mean for us? Nobody knows the answer, not yet. The great houses face their fate. Then comes the second wave, the larger monasteries. The great houses, the centers of charity, learning, medicine, and prayer. In London, these are monumental places woven into daily life. Westminster Abbey, the Charterhouse, St. Bartholomew's, Greyfriars, Blackfriars, Holy Trinity Aldgate, the Hospital of St. Mary's Spital. They are not simply buildings, they are part of the city's memory, and now they stand in the path of a king's decision. Slowly, one by one, they surrender their lands. Their bells ring for the last time. Their libraries are emptied. Their chapels grow quiet. The silence spreads like mist. The Charterhouse, a tragic symbol. Among all London's religious communities, the fate of the Charterhouse becomes the most haunting. The Carthusian monks are known for their strict silence, deep prayer, and devotion. When asked to sign the oath, accepting the king's supremacy over the church, they hesitate, not in rebellion, but in conscience. London hears whispers of monks taken from their cells, of resistance born not from anger, but from faith. of quiet men facing a power far greater than themselves. Some Londoners pray for them, some avert their eyes, some feel a heavy sorrow settle in their hearts. The story of the Charterhouse becomes a symbol of what is being lost. The city wakes to an empty soundscape. As months pass, London feels the change more clearly. The morning bells ring fewer notes. The chanting of monks no longer drifts over the rooftops. The sacred processions disappear from feast days. Pilgrims no longer arrive with stories and prayers. Hospitals run by monks struggle or close entirely. The silence is startling. London, for the first time in centuries, begins to hear itself. The clatter of carts, the cries of merchants, the splash of oars, the barking of dogs, the hammering of craftsmen. Without the soft blanket of sacred sound, the city feels raw, exposed, uncertain. Confusion among the people. Ordinary Londoners struggle to understand the reforms. Some support the king. They believe the monasteries are old-fashioned, wealthy, too independent. They say the money will strengthen the nation. Some oppose the changes. They mourn the loss of charity, prayer, and stability. They fear for the future. Most feel both at once. They support the king, but miss the monks. They cheer reforms, but worry about the poor. They accept new laws, but carry old prayers in their hearts. London becomes a city with two minds. New owners, new purposes. Royal officials quickly take control of monastic lands. Buildings are sold or granted to nobles and merchants. Cloisters become private homes. Dormitories become storehouses. Refectories become workshops. Gardens become marketplaces. Some structures remain intact. Others crumble. Some are transformed into new institutions. Some vanish without ceremony. London's map changes. Whole neighborhoods shift from sacred to secular. Streets realign. Trade routes expand. Craftsmen move into old monastic spaces. New wealth grows where prayers once echoed. The city becomes more modern, more commercial, more ambitious, but also less peaceful. A new religious landscape. By 1540, the transformation is nearly complete. The ancient monastic world has vanished. The Church of England has risen. Parishes adjust their services. Priests adopt new practices. People struggle to learn the new prayers. Latin fades. English grows. Old altars are removed. New pulpits rise. Some welcome the change with open arms. Some endure it with reluctant hearts. Some cling desperately to memories of the old ways. London itself is a tapestry of emotions. Excitement, sadness, hope, confusion, fear, curiosity. No single feeling dominates. The city feels everything at once. Ending the chapter. Let the quiet of the dissolved monasteries settle softly in your imagination. Walk for a moment through an empty cloister. The air still, the stone cool beneath your feet. Hear the faint echo of prayers that once filled the space like warm light. London has entered a new era. The old world has ended. The new world has begun, and the city stands somewhere between grief and transformation. Rest gently now. History will keep turning, but tonight you may let the silence soothe you.
Let the silence of the monasteries settle gently around you. Won't we have watched London move from the familiar rhythm of bells, prayers, and ancient faith into a world divided by royal ambition and religious change. Henry VIII has broken with Rome, old loyalties have been tested, and sacred houses that once sheltered the poor and filled the city with prayer now stand empty. London has entered a new age, but it carries grief, confusion, and uncertainty into the future. For now, let the Thames grow quiet beneath the night sky. The city rests between the world it has lost and the world still forming.